Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I'm here with the update. Thanks for letting me take last week off. As many of you know, took my family to Disney World, which was very magical. They're incredible at creating the wow. I'm sure that's in some part of their core mission and values. But I still think that LVCC creates the wow better than anyone else. Like, we're untouchable with that. And it's all in part of our team's great effort every day. Heard a lot of amazing compliments about how hard everyone worked last week, especially. Whether we were short-staffed or just extra busy, we made it happen and just had a phenomenal record-breaking week. And I'm so proud of everyone who makes that happen all the time. So thank you. Going forward, another way that we'll create the wow, I know we've been talking about it a lot, but it's finally here. We are on Family Adventure Day week. That's this Saturday, the 16th. If you haven't signed up yet, or if you want to just join us last minute, that is perfectly fine. We welcome all the help that we can get. We have about 500 families who come through. That's a lot of people. So all the help, all the hands on deck, make it possible and just really help us to create the wow for those people who do show up. Again, if you're new, if you're just joining us, Family Adventure Day is hosted by the Healing House, who's a community effort here in our community. They provide bereavement services for children in need who are grieving. They do counseling, family activities, and Family Adventure Day that they host is where families can register and pay a fee to get access to all these businesses who offer adventures and challenge families by spending time together and having as many adventures together in one day as possible. So our stop, very popular, probably, dare I say, the most popular of their sites for years running, and we're on track to deliver this year. So we have a couple of adventure tasks planned for the families as they come through. Backed by popular demand is our surgery experience, where we have a pan of Jell-O. We hide little trinkets and toys in there, and kids can use hemostats to grab them out so they can kind of simulate surgery for a pet. We have the Guess What He Ate x-rays. The kids always love looking at x-rays of animals who have ingested all kinds of weird, funny stuff. So we'll make a game out of that. We have the Barn on Ranch Petting Zoo coming. They bring all kinds of cute baby critters, and I think they bring a donkey, like just all kinds of fun animals for the kids to get to interact with and give treats to. And then we have a new booth this year as well that's going to be Ask a Vet a Question, because we have so many veterinarians who are participating this year that we're able to do that. And I think the families will really love getting to know our doctors a little bit more intimately and asking those questions that they kind of have pending about why do pets do this or that. So we'll have some little FAQs to help them along with that. Really excited. Again, it's a big production. Amber has been spearheading it this year and has had a lot of help, but she's really the lady making it happen. So I'm super proud of her, giving her some mega kudos this week, especially. We need your help. Please come out on Saturday. We would love to have you for any part of the day. Setup and cleanup are especially cumbersome, so joining in just for that is helpful too. Okay, moving on. One other thing that we're really looking forward to is we are kind of on the countdown to our annual crawfish boil. That's going to be April 6th. We sent out an Evite. I'm going to send out a revised agenda of that too, because we're going to put a little spin on it, kind of remake that event this year. So we've got some cool surprises coming for you that I want you to be able to plan for, so you know when you want to come and how you want to participate. It'll be cool. In other words, we're not just eating crawfish, y'all. It's going to be really good. So look out for that in your personal email coming within the next 2 weeks or so. We also have several projects that we're kind of toting along this spring. Really excited. Today, actually, we start training for our Paw Loyalty software that we're bringing in. This is going to be a resort management software that's going to replace Atlantis. So today, some of our administration team starts training on that so that we can forecast any issues and take care of them before we introduce it to the team. But we will be introducing Paw Loyalty to our team within 2 weeks. So I'm really excited. Alex has been spearheading this project. She's done a phenomenal job getting it all together. So we can't wait to start learning about how it works so we can predict issues, resolve them, and get it out. We will have that software active by April 1st. So really looking forward to getting that going and opening up a lot of new opportunities there. Also coming along, I'm going to quickly rattle through these things. We have our grooming van, which is up and running now, completely decorated. We're ready to start telling clients about that. There is a waiting list for the grooming van. So a couple of things that we're doing to help to combat that and make it more accessible to our clients. One is right now on their grooming calendar, we are accepting people who want to join the waiting list, and Rachel Aloya is looking at that regularly, trying to get them appointments so they can get on the calendar for mobile grooming. Also, we've hired and are training a new groomer as well. So as we see that that's working out and that person's able to start working independently, we'll introduce them to you, and we'll be able to expand our calendar. Right now we just do mobile grooming Tuesday through Friday, but we want to add on Saturday and Sunday hours as well and keep the mobile van parked on Mondays for maintenance. So once we have that coming up in the next couple of weeks, we'll let you know. So you might be cautious on who you really broadcast that to or promise it to. Appointments are hard to get right now, but we're working to make them easier to get. In the meantime, if customer care team especially, if you have someone who's requesting mobile grooming and you don't see that there's an appointment available for them, put them on that waiting list and Rachel will work them in to get them an appointment that's appropriate. And then we have plenty of open grooming in the salon as well if they wanted something until they could get on the mobile schedule. That's really exciting. Again, that calendar's on the grooming sheet. It's the 4th tab. We're making grooming room adjustments at the resort. So we're swapping the finishing room and grooming room in the upcoming weeks, and we're going to be reconfiguring that space to make it more functional, add more drying cages, new equipment. Just really looking forward to how that comes together. So that's a project impending. We're also redecorating the suites. It's been about 10 years since we've done anything different with those. So the individually themed suites will still be individually themed, but with new themes. So I'm excited to introduce that as that finishes development and we can get that going. I just think it'll be a really fresh take on something that we already do well for the summertime, and it'll look nice and updated. We'll also be changing around a lot of the artwork in the lobbies and giving the resort just a good little facelift. Also, more exciting news from the resort is we're beginning work on our freestanding daycare. Met with Bennett yesterday. He's kind of spearheading that project there, and he's getting a lot of bids together, and construction should start pretty soon. So we'll actually host our crawfish boil in there, and then you'll see construction starting, and we'll get to watch that from across the street. It should be really fun. We were really hoping to have that up and running by June, but there's a bit more work to that facility than was anticipated, so I think we'll experience some delays on that. It may be more like August before we have it up and going, but that's okay. It's a marathon, not a race, and it's going to be really awesome. We're calling that project the Playground. That's going to be the dog playground, and it'll have a lot of great features which we'll get to share and show with you, hopefully at the crawfish boil. The last thing that we're really working on right now, which is no small project either, is the exam room. That's the old doctor's office that we're converting into a 7th exam room. That's going to be a really sweet space. Bennett's had some delays in working on that because the hospital's always so busy that he can't seem to get too much done without disrupting our flow. So he's working on ways to be creative with that and try and work in our non-peak hours. Of course, we're always seeing patients, but I guess where he would cause the least disruption to the fewest clients. So as soon as we can get that going, we will have that done. I'm thinking probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks as a maximum that should be complete. Just like to everybody to know what's going on. Speaking of Bennett and his demand, because he's helping us with a lot of these projects, it's really, really tough for him to be approached by individual team members. And if you think you're just the only one, you're not. It's kind of everybody approaching Bennett right now saying, this is broken, this needs fixing, how do I do this? And that's really disruptive to him and getting his work done. He's missing some deadlines for us because of it. And he really has been instructed for most of the time he's been working for us to not take on any projects from anybody except for myself or other leaders. At this time, it's myself or Dr. Patrick that really he has to get approval for projects for anyways. So let's just kind of cut down on the time that it takes everybody to invest in repairs that need happening. Just put them on my work list, and then I will delegate them to Bennett or to the right person to get them done the quickest way possible for you, and make sure that those things happen appropriately. All right, that's, oh, one last thing for the resort. We have turf on order. We should have turf to replace the ripped and torn turf that's in the breezeway and in some other areas within the next 2 weeks. That's the last improvement that we're kind of waiting on right now. So I'll let you all know how and when that'll happen and how it'll look. Really exciting things happening for the resort and the hospital right now. Okay, on to a couple other things. One thing that's been a little bit confusing to clients, and I think it's the way we're explaining it, is cremation. We have 3 types of cremation that we do with Faithful Friends. They offer communal cremation, which is obviously where a pet's remains do not get returned to the owner. Instead, they are disposed of in a respectful manner. So pets are communally cremated, which means many are cremated at the same time. And again, the remains mingle in the incinerator and therefore could not be accurately returned to an owner. The second type of cremation is semi-private. This is where up to 3 pets are cremated side by side in this incinerator, but with divisional precautions there. So you're keeping most of the integrity of the remains of an individual pet together. This is obviously at a discounted price to what a private cremation would be, which is where only 1 pet is in the incinerator. So the accuracy of their remains coming to them is nearly 100%. And in total there. So with communal, you could say there's complete mingling of remains in the incinerator. With semi-private, there is the majority of remains are not mingled, and in private there are no mingling of remains. So if somebody wanted private cremation, you can guarantee that they're only going to get their pet's remains. With semi-private, they're going to get the majority of their pet's remains. I think it's a respectful way to explain it just like that, and lets people know exactly what's happening so they can make the best informed decision for themselves. We just have to make sure that we explain that correctly because there are price differences and people want to understand why. So you have to make sure that you're explaining that appropriately. That way they can make their best decision. Also, earlier this week, I talked about the fact that we're no longer going to be doing any clay paws. This was because those are taking so long for our teams to produce. And I know a lot of our nurses say they absolutely love making them, which I think is wonderful and beautiful. However, it takes so long for you to do it. Some of them, I'm seeing people take up to 20, 30 minutes to make those. Well, when we add that onto the fact that we're making 2, sometimes 3 per pet, and then the owners are not getting them in the end, and those already prepackaged clay paws come in at $6 or $7 each, you're talking about a $25 project sometimes that ends up being wasted. If you've seen the ones that are left behind and never picked up, that's just money that we were never able to really put to good use for our clients. We've tried doing better with this, and it's to a point where no real effort is making enough of a difference to make this exactly worthwhile. So we're looking at alternatives. We still want to make paw prints for for pet owners as kind of a memento. But at this point, the clay paws, we're going to just offer through Faithful Friends. They're great at doing them. And if Faithful Friends receives a pet that they would actually be returning here, they'll have the availability to unite that paw print exactly with the remains that are returned. They'll come to the office and the owner gets that too. And it's a $25 fee to the owner for that service. In the meantime, we've ordered some inking materials where we're going to try and do some actual inked prints of pets' paws. This is much more affordable. It'll be less time consuming, and it'll be something that we can accurately do. If it gets left behind, we can afford to mail it as well, where we can't necessarily afford the extra expense of mailing the clay paws. We'll have those in probably later this week. And Nicole has actually mentioned that she has experience doing this. So she's going to work with Danielle and myself so we can perfect a technique and process for you. We'll introduce it as soon as possible. But until then, no more clay paws. So make sure that you're not promising those or offering them to anybody. Unless you plan on going through Faithful Friends for it. And in order to do that, they'd have to be getting remains returned or at least a cremation. Okay, that's that for this week. The last updates that I had were we made a new code called CCOF. We're going to be asking the doctors to utilize this, and the doctor's update will have all the details on how, but that'll be a client communication financial update, where they can just put in free notes to notes separately where they updated a client on their total balance throughout the hospitalization or hospital care of a pet. And other team members can look in on that so they can see where and how a case progressed financially for an owner. This is a concern because we need to always be vigilant about updating owners on the expense that they have and what they owe us for the care that they're getting. So I wanted to make sure that we made this an easy way to pick out and an unforgettable task. The doctors will be vigilant about making that happen, and the rest of us will know that that's how it happens. The very last item that I had to discuss today was I think it's finally okay for us to begin sharing freely that Dr. Andy and Dr. Kristen have retired, and Dr. Patrick is the sole owner of our practice now. There's never a need to really mention NVA. They're a silent partner, and Dr. Patrick is definitely the face of our practice and one that an owner would be able to identify and communicate with directly. So feel free to go ahead and do that. Make sure that as people are calling for Dr. Andy and Dr. Kristen, that those messages are getting appropriately passed on as you see fit. Most of those calls will go to Dr. Patrick, myself, Dawn, as those were mostly the tasks that they took care of before. So feel free to explain that. You don't have to be secretive about it. You definitely don't have to go out of your way to explain it to people either, unless they ask. I just wanted to make sure that we all knew we had the permission to do so and to represent them appropriately for that. All right, y'all, sorry for the long update. Just a lot of great things happening. And again, I'm so proud of all your hard work. I had to take a minute to share with you. Keep it up. See you at Family Adventure Day. Y'all have a great rest of your week.